If you've ever looked in the mirror and quietly wondered, why am I still not enough? This message is for you, because the truth is, some of the most attractive men in the world never realize their power. And that blindness is costing them everything. Let me tell you something no one says out loud. Attraction is not loud. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't show off. Real attraction moves silently through rooms, through conversations, through people's nervous systems. And if you're watching this, there's a high chance you already carry it, without knowing how visible it is to others. Highly attractive men often grow up believing the opposite. They're not the ones constantly fishing for validation. They're not addicted to being seen. In fact, they're usually the ones questioning themselves the most. That self-doubt, it's not weakness. It's often a byproduct of depth. You notice details, you read emotional shifts, you sense when something is off. That awareness makes you cautious, reflective, sometimes overly critical of yourself. But to others, that same awareness feels grounding, safe, magnetic. Here's something uncomfortable. People don't feel attracted to confidence alone. They feel attracted to emotional control, to someone who doesn't rush to prove themselves, to someone who listens without trying to dominate the moment. If you've ever been told you're calm, different, or that people feel comfortable opening up to you fast, that's not coincidence. That's attraction operating below the surface. Highly attractive men often underestimate themselves because attraction doesn't always show up as praise. Sometimes it shows up as tension, as mixed signals, as people staring a little too long, then pulling away, as women testing you emotionally, not because they're bored, but because they're curious how solid you are. Weak attraction is obvious. Strong attraction is destabilizing. It makes people unsure of their own behavior around you. And here's the part that hurts to hear. If you grew up having to be emotionally self-sufficient, you probably learned to minimize yourself. You learned not to take up space, not to assume interest, not to expect desire. But attraction doesn't disappear just because you don't acknowledge it. It just goes unmanaged, unused, misunderstood. Think back. How many times did someone lose interest after they got closer to you? Not because you weren't attractive, but because they felt you pulling away from your own value. People don't walk away from strength. They walk away from uncertainty about whether that strength knows itself. Attractive men don't chase attention. Attention finds them. And when it does, it often comes disguised as confusion, resistance, or even rejection. Not everyone knows how to handle someone who doesn't need them, but could choose them. This is where everything changes. The moment you stop asking, am I attractive? And start asking, am I owning the weight I carry? Because the most dangerous thing about being highly attractive is not knowing it and living smaller than the impact you're meant to have. There's a pattern I want you to notice because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Highly attractive men are rarely treated in a simple way. People don't just like them, they react to them. And reactions are often messy. You may have noticed people acting strangely around you, becoming overly friendly, then distant, confident one moment, awkward the next, testing you emotionally, then pretending they don't care. That's not random behavior. That's attraction colliding with insecurity. When someone feels drawn to you but isn't sure where they stand, their nervous system goes into defense mode. They probe. They pull back. They look for certainty. Here's the truth most men never hear. Strong attraction creates fear. Not fear of you, but fear of loss of control. When someone senses depth, discipline, or emotional steadiness in you, it highlights what they lack in themselves. And instead of leaning in, many people unconsciously resist. They downplay you. They try to reframe you as not that special. Not because you aren't, but because accepting your value would force them to confront their own. This is why highly attractive men are often misunderstood. You don't fit neatly into expectations. You don't perform desperation. You don't over-explain yourself. You're selective with words. That restraint, to the wrong person, it feels like distance. To the right person, it feels intoxicating. You might also notice that people project onto you. They assume confidence you don't feel, strength you're still building, intentions you never stated. That's because attraction fills in blanks. People imagine who you are before they know you. And if you're not aware of your own gravity, those projections can confuse you. You start thinking, why are they acting like this? I didn't do anything. But your presence did something. Let's talk about another sign that almost always gets misread. You don't need constant validation, but when you do receive it, it feels strangely empty. Compliments bounce off you. Praise doesn't anchor. That's not because you're ungrateful. It's because your self-worth was built internally, not externally. You learned early that approval was unreliable, so you stopped chasing it. Ironically, that's one of the most attractive traits a man can have. Highly attractive men often have fewer but deeper connections. You don't collect people. You resonate with them, and resonance is rare. When someone feels truly seen by you, it stays with them, even if the connection ends, even if time passes. That's why people come back. Not always romantically, but emotionally. They remember how they felt around you. But here's the warning. If you don't recognize your own attractiveness, you will unconsciously sabotage it. You'll overgive to people who haven't earned access. You'll tolerate mixed signals. You'll shrink your standards to avoid standing alone. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who doesn't protect his own value. Attraction isn't about being perfect. It's about being grounded, about knowing where you end and others begin. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people who haven't taken the time to understand you, something shifts. Your energy becomes cleaner, sharper, more intentional. And people feel that immediately. They always have. You just didn't know that what they were reacting to was you stepping into the gravity you were born with. Here's where most highly attractive men quietly lose their edge. Not because they lack something, but because they give too much of it away. Your attention, your emotional availability, your patience. These are powerful currencies. And when they're spent without intention, attraction erodes. You've probably been taught that being good means being accommodating. That being attractive means being agreeable. But the psychology of desire works differently. People don't feel drawn to what is always available. They feel drawn to what is intentional. When your time, focus, and emotional energy are too easy to access, others unconsciously devalue them, not out of cruelty, but out of human wiring. Highly attractive men often struggle here because they're empathetic. You sense moods, you understand perspectives, you see potential in people before it's proven. That makes you generous. But generosity without boundaries doesn't read as kindness. It reads as uncertainty, and uncertainty dissolves attraction. Think about this carefully. When you enter a room, you don't force energy outward. You observe, you calibrate, you choose when to speak. That selectiveness is powerful, but only if it's backed by self-trust. When you second-guess yourself, that same selectiveness turns into hesitation, and people feel the difference instantly. Another sign you may not recognize. You don't compete loudly, but you compete deeply. You're not trying to be better than others. You're trying to be aligned with yourself. That internal orientation makes you unpredictable in a good way. You don't move based on pressure. You move based on principle. And while that confuses people who rely on social cues, it deeply attracts those who crave stability and authenticity. This is also why you may feel disconnected from modern dating culture. The games, the speed, the surface-level interactions, they don't stimulate you. You want substance, presence, meaning. And because most people are trained to operate quickly and superficially, they may misinterpret your depth as disinterest. But depth doesn't chase. Depth invites. Here's a hard truth. Not everyone who feels attracted to you will treat you well. Some will try to control you. Others will test your boundaries repeatedly. Some will pull away just to see if you follow. These behaviors are not signs of your failure. They're signs of your impact. People test what matters to them. What matters is how you respond. Do you over-explain to regain balance? Do you chase clarity from people who haven't earned it? Or do you stay grounded, letting silence do the work words can't? Highly attractive men don't force outcomes. They allow truth to surface. You may have noticed that when you finally detach, when you stop trying to hold something together, it either collapses or suddenly comes back stronger. That's not coincidence. That's your absence revealing your value. Presence is powerful, but absence is diagnostic. It shows people what they took for granted. This is where attraction matures. When you no longer seek to be chosen, but choose intentionally. When you stop trying to be understood by everyone and focus on being respected by yourself. When your standards become calm, not defensive. The most attractive version of you is not louder, flashier, or more aggressive. It's steadier, clearer, more rooted. And when you operate from that place, You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. They feel it. And the ones who are meant to stay always do. Now listen carefully, because this is the line between realizing your attractiveness and fully stepping into it. Attraction is not something you perform. It's something you allow when you stop abandoning yourself. Highly attractive men don't win by doing more. They win by withholding wisely, by not reacting emotionally to every shift, by not chasing reassurance when silence appears, by staying anchored when others become uncertain. This isn't emotional coldness, it's emotional leadership. You've likely noticed that when you're fully focused on your own path, your growth, your discipline, your internal order, people suddenly want access to you. Not because you changed who you are, but because you stopped leaking your energy outward. Desire flows toward containment, toward someone who can hold themselves together without external regulation. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to be attractive, you become undeniable, because need repels and self-respect draws. When your life feels full, even imperfect but owned, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop tolerating ambiguity that costs your peace. And people feel that shift before you ever say a word. Attractive men don't demand attention. They create contrast, calm in chaos, stillness in noise, certainty without arrogance. You don't have to dominate rooms. You change the temperature just by being grounded. That's why people remember you long after conversations end. That's why your absence is felt more than your presence is announced. But understand this, attraction is a responsibility. If you don't consciously direct it, it will attract the wrong people. Those who want access without depth, those who are drawn to your stability but unwilling to meet you there. That's why boundaries are not optional for you. They're essential. Boundaries protect your energy so it can be offered intentionally, not drained accidentally. This is where self-trust becomes everything. Trusting your instincts when something feels off. Trusting your pace when others rush. Trusting that walking away doesn't mean losing, it means choosing alignment. Highly attractive men don't cling to potential. They respond to reality. And here's the final truth most men never hear. You don't need to become someone else to be desired. You need to stop hiding the weight of who you already are, your restraint, your depth, your emotional intelligence, your silence. These are not flaws, they are signals. The world trains men to be louder, faster, more aggressive. But the men who leave the deepest imprint move differently. They speak when it matters, they act when aligned, they leave when disrespected, and they stay when it's real. If you've ever felt overlooked, misunderstood, or underestimated, good. That means you're not obvious, and obvious fades fast. Depth doesn't. So here's my question to you, and I want you to answer it honestly in the comments. What is one way you've been downplaying your value without realizing it? If this message hit something real in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with one person who needs to hear it. Because the right words at the right moment can change how a man sees himself forever.